The Radio Memories Network is brought to you in part by Liberated Syndication. Podcast publishing made easy. Libsyn.com. That's Libsyn.com.
Escape. Escape tonight to the China Seas in Typhoon. The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the fourth, is Typhoon by Joseph Conrad, produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Of all the great authors who wrote of the sea, none so captured the wonder and the horror of it as did Joseph Conrad. Tonight, we escape to the China Seas in his great story, Typhoon, told in the words of a certain Mr. Jukes, chief mate of the China coast steamer Nan Shan, a young man of very remarkable perceptions.
I've been sailing the China Sea long enough to see some strange and terrible things, but nothing as bad as that was. Why, God himself forgot us, and the whole blinking universe set out to do us in that night. It was the... Oh, but that comes later. I guess you can't really understand what happened on board the Nan Shan without knowing something about our skipper, Captain McWhirr. Stupid McWhirr, I called him. And after sailing with him for 3 years, I ought to know what I'm talking about. Why, I tagged him right off first day he came aboard to take command. In Liverpool it was. And Mr. Siggs, who was one of the owners, was showing him around the deck.
This is a more modern ship afloat. I might say again that you've come to us very highly recommended, Captain McWhirr. We've a great deal of confidence in you.
Thank you, Mr. Siggs.
She's a brand new ship and a good ship. There's no reason why you shouldn't continue in command of her as long as you like.
Well, that's fine.
She'll be the smartest thing afloat in the China trade. Why, she's put together like a Swiss watch. Precision built from stem to stern.
Wait, just a minute, Mr. Siggs.
What is it?
That lock.
Lock? What lock?
Here, on the cabin door.
What about it?
You'll notice how it's been set in the frame, somewhat cocked at an angle. The ship starts rolling a bit, and the first thing you know, it snaps open and leaves the door swinging. It really should be fixed, Mr. Siggs.
That's Captain McWhirr, the best berth he'd ever had. New command, a brand new ship. But instead of pinching himself to see if he's awake, he complains about a lock on the cabin door. See what I mean?
Captain McWhirr, I see what you mean. I'll have it attended to right away. I think you'll do all right.
Thank you, Mr. Siggs.
Well, everybody knows what the China coast is. You haul out of Bangkok for a quick run up to Singapore and then shove off for Hong Kong. 2 days ashore, you do it all over again. 3 years of it. 3 years of heat, smells, weather, copra, silk, and tea. Along in there somewhere, the owners decided to transfer the ship's registry to the Siamese flag. Don't ask me why. They just did, that's all. Anyway, I can tell you I didn't like it. When you grow up under the Union Jack, you figure to go on sailing under it. Not that the skipper, of course, could understand that kind of a feeling. Oh, no. Not old stupid McWhirr.
Aye? What is that, Mr. Jukes?
They just sent the new flag out from shore, sir. Here it is.
Oh, fine, fine. Unroll it. Let's have a look. Ah, yes.
In my opinion, sir, it's a queer kind of flag for a man to sail under.
Oh? And what's the matter with it?
Well, it just looks queer to me, that's all.
Well, now, let's see. A white elephant on a red field. Just a minute. I'll look it up in the book.
Here we are. Siam. White elephant on a field of bright red. Length exactly twice the breadth. So. Well, there's nothing wrong with this flag, Mr. Jukes.
Oh, isn't there?
Not a thing. I hardly thought there could be. After all, these people ought to know how to make their own flag. It stands to reason.
Does it now?
You must have it confused with some other flag, Mr. Jukes.
Well, all I can say is...
Of course, you'll have to take care the seamen don't hoist the elephant upside down. That is, before they're quite used to it. I presume it might be taken for a signal of distress. And in that case, well, the way I see it, that elephant stands for something like the nature of a Union Jack in the British flag.
Oh, you think so? Well, it's like a blooming Noah's Ark. That's what it is.
Mr. Jukes.
I'm sorry, sir.
I can't see where the color of a flag could anywise affect the navigation of a ship.
All right, sir. I'll instruct the hands. It'd certainly be a most distressful sight to see that elephant hoisted upside down. Well, that was Captain McWhirr. Couldn't get a thing through his head if you drew him a picture. And that's the skipper we had to sail under on the maddest, wildest trip that any coaster ever took. We were loading out in Singapore. Half the cargo had already come aboard. The sun was blazing, and the smoke from our stacks hung over the decks like a blanket. The Nanshan's winches puffed away aft. The cargo chains creaked and clattered across the combing. I was in the waist supervising the loading when Mr. Rout, the chief engineer, came up.
Hey there, Jukes. What's going on down there on the dock? Looks like a blooming army.
I don't know, Mr. Rout. Must be a mob of coolies on the move.
Here comes the captain. Could be some of his doing.
Mr. Jukes,
Aye, sir.
keep the forward between decks clear of cargo. There'll be 200 coolies coming aboard, and we'll plan to bank them down there.
Good Lord, where are they bound?
Foochow. We'll have to put in there this trip.
Yeah, but we're not fixed to handle passengers, sir.
Oh, they'll bring supplies aboard with them. Every man's got a camphor wood chest, so you'll have to nail deck battens down there to keep them from sliding.
Yes, sir, I'll see to it.
They've all been working on a plantation north somewhere. 2-year contract. They're dying to get home. It wouldn't have been quite right to turn them down. You may as well start them coming aboard, Mr. Jukes.
All right, sir. Ollie number 1, boy, Ollie same. Listen, you savvy, huh? Ollie fellow, catch him here. Top side, catch him step, bottom side. Ollie time, chop. Single file now. One fellow, one time, all the time. What do you suppose they carry in those boxes?
Oh, I suppose they're personal belongings, Mr. Jukes. And, of course, their 2 years' pay in silver dollars.
Well, they're as vicious a looking bunch of murderers as I've ever seen.
Murderers? Oh, come now, Mr. Jukes. 1 or 2 of them, maybe. But in the main, I'd say they're honest workmen. Have to be to stick out a 2-year contract on one of these plantations.
Just the same, sir. We'd better not take any chances.
No, I check the lading weights carefully, Mr. Jukes. We can carry them without any overloading at all.
I mean that... All right, sir. I'd better go hide the silverware in the officer's mess.
He's a hard lad to understand sometimes.
I could say I had a premonition right then, and I wouldn't be lying. Anyway, that's how it started. At the hottest time of the year, 200 half-civilized coolies aboard, a captain with no more imagination than you could stick in your ear, we steamed out from Singapore and laid a course for the port of Foochow.
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver, the Lone Ranger.
Hey, Jukes, I don't like it. I don't like it a bit.
What don't you like about it, Mr. Rowe?
The looks of things. Something ominous about it.
Oh, there's a bit of a swell running all right. Not a breath of wind. It's uncommonly hot,
This is the legend
that's
of
all.
a man and a
He's the man
horse,
that jumps.
and how they met. The
You're as
story
bad
of
as
the Lone
second mate.
Ranger
He's
and
been
his
rolling
great
around
horse
like the voice
Silver.
of doom all day.
I don't know.
Mr. Jukes?
Oh, that's the old man. I'll see you later. Keep your steam up.
The Lone
Mr. Ralph.
Ranger and Tonto were trailing the worst outlaw in the West. His name was Butch
Calling me,
Cavendish.
Captain?
I
They had
was,
followed his
Mr.
trail
Duke.
for many weeks,
And
until
what
finally
was all
they
the long
noticed that the hoofprints
conversation
of
with
the
Mr.
outlaw's
Ralph?
horse were
Oh,
fresh.
why, nothing much, sir. I
Cavendish
didn't see any harm in
Yes,
talking a
Tonto.
bit. I'm not
You
on
can't
watch.
be far
you know.
ahead.
Oh, no,
You
no,
outrun
nothing
us
wrong with it,
last
nothing
time.
at all.
Maybe better we
I
shoot
just
in
wondered
sight.
what we could find to
want
talk
take him
about.
alive.
Different things.
Steady there, steady, boy.
Seen
Over
people
there.
on shore.
Killer in ambush. Him
Sit
right
around
way.
the table.
Tonto, he
and
missed
talk
me, but he
for
shot
2
my
or 3
horse.
hours.
Get after him.
I never could understand it.
It's just
Tonto's horse was
conversation.
tired and no match in
Nothing
speed for the animal Cavendish rode. The outlaw escaped.
Well,
When Tonto
you've
returned
noticed
from
the
the futile
barometer,
chase,
no doubt.
Yes, sir.
he found the Lone Ranger standing
All in
beside
fact.
his dead horse.
Quite
A
low
good
now.
horse, Tonto.
Take a
Loyal, faithful, and brave. But my
Well,
next
hey,
horse
gentlemen,
must be
Bad
faster.
time of the year
I
for
wish
that
that-
sort of thing. Very bad.
Anything
You've
you
heard
want me to do,
stories
sir?
of a wild horse,
no,
a fiery
no.
white stallion.
Must be some uncommonly
Been seen
dusty
near
weather
Valley over
knocking
there,
about
where
somewhere.
Cavendish
Hey,
rode.
Mr. Duke?
We'll be on the
Yes,
lookout
sir.
for the
Well,
wild horse while we
that's all.
follow Cavendish.
Just what you ought to know about it, that's all. Now, carry on, sir, carry on.
Tonto's horse carried the Lone Ranger's saddle, his saddlebags, and bridle, while the masked man and the Indian continued on foot along the outlaw's trail. When they reached the top of a hill,
Look, Tonto.
they halted suddenly
Whoa,
and stared at
there's
an
a heavy one, all
awe-inspiring
right,
sight
mate.
far down in the valley.
Them coolies must be having a time
They
of
saw
it
a
down
great
below.
white stallion
Lucky
in a
for
death
them, the
fight
old
with a
girl
giant
rolls easier
buffalo.
than any
The
ship
horse
I've
was
ever
plunging,
seen.
rearing,
You
charging,
just
and
wait.
dodging wildly.
Oh, you think
And the
we may
sun
be in
flashed
for it,
from his
huh?
coat
Oh,
as from a
no.
coat of
I
polished
don't think
silver.
anything.
They
You're not gonna
realized
make a
that
fool
this
out of me
was the
that way,
legendary
Mr.
white
Duke.
stallion,
I
the
didn't
one
say a
ranchers
word.
and hunters
What's
had
the
talked
matter
so
with
much
you,
about.
second?
Tonto,
Why
must
shouldn't
have
you
that
say
horse.
what you think
I'll
if you're a
try to
mind?
shoot the buffalo.
No, you don't catch me.
Pistol shot. I'll get closer before
Whoa,
it's too
there's
late.
another one.
As he ran downhill, the Lone Ranger watched the battle. The sleek white
Pretty
stallion
rough.
was nimble and courageous, but his
Now,
strength began to
whatever it's
wane.
about,
The
we're
buffalo
steaming
charged
right
again
into
and
it
again. The
You
splendid
just
muscles
try
of the
telling
white
the old
horse
man
were
that.
slower in
Why
responding,
shouldn't I?
then too slow. He was
Matter of
caught by the
fact, I think
buffalo's
I'll ask
charge.
him about this
Wet
cross
crimson
swell. It's
stained
getting
his
worse
purified
all the
coat.
time. No,
Another
no,
charge.
Skipper,
The
to break
white
some
horse
white
saw it
good
coming
men
and he
for
couldn't
taking a
dodge.
wrong
He
way.
staggered and fell. The monster drew back and lowered his head for the death charge.
Captain
And
McClure.
then two shots rang out.
What is it?
Swell is
The
getting a good
buffalo
deal
shuddered
worse.
from the
sir.
impact of the
I
masked
noticed
man's
that in
bullets.
here.
For an
Anything
instant,
wrong?
he stood motionless.
Well, I
Then
was thinking
fell.
about the passengers.
What passengers?
Why, the coolies, sir.
Then if you mean coolies, say coolies, Mr. Duke. A man ought to say what he means. What about the coolies?
She's rolling her decks full of water, sir. I thought you might want to put her head at the swell for a bit, until it goes down, of course.
So that's it, eh? Put her head at the
Cruelly
swell, 4
battered
points
and
off the
bruised,
coast.
Well, it's just for a
Stallion
while,
lay
sir. A
quietly
swell as high as
as the
this
Lone
can't
Ranger
last
bathed
long.
his
That
wounds.
stands to reason.
Mr.
During the
Duke,
next several days, the
Take a
masked
look at
man
the
and the
barometer.
Indian cared for the injured horse.
Good Lord.
Then the wounds
Yeah,
were closed,
exactly.
and the horse's
it's a
strength
dead
had
calm
returned.
outside, isn't it?
There was once more
Not a
fire
breath
in
of
his
air
eye,
stirring, sir.
a spring in his
One of that
step,
cross swell.
and his head was
I've been
lifted
reading in the
proudly.
book here about storms. Funny thing.
He's himself again.
If a man believed everything
Him
written
pretty
down here,
strong.
he'd spend half his life running to get
I
behind the
wonder
weather.
if he'll take a saddle. Let's
If
try.
I was to go by what
Steady
this
there,
fellow says, I'd
boy.
alter my course and come booming into Foochow from the north. 4 days
No, Tonto,
late,
wait.
300
Let him go.
extra miles in
I'd like to
distance,
have that horse
and a
more than
pretty
anything
bill
in
for
the
coal
world.
on top of it.
But he deserves his freedom.
I tell you, Mr.
He fought
Duke,
for it.
If I knew every word
Stop.
in here was
He's turned to look
gospel
at us.
true, I couldn't bring myself to
The
do that.
sun reflects
No,
on his
sir,
white
I
coat.
guess
And how's a man to
Him
know
look
the
like
book is
silver.
right? If you dodge around a spot of
Be a
death,
name
weather,
for him.
how do you ever find out it was there in the first place? Answer me that.
Silver! Hey, Silver!
Oh, Mr. Duke, there's things that a man
Tonto,
can't get from
he's
books.
coming back.
I've
It's
thought
just
it
as if he
all
knew what I
out this
said.
afternoon.
Silver!
Hold her steady as she goes.
Whatever
Silver,
you
you
say, sir.
beauty.
You're the captain.
Hand me the halter, Tonto.
I guess I'd better write up the
As the
log.
mighty
I'm going
stallion
on
felt the
watch.
halter, he trembled as if
I
from a
guess
chill.
we're heading into
Every
something
instinct
a bit
told
out
him
of
that
the
he must
ordinary.
flee at once to preserve
Call
his
me at
freedom.
once if anything
And yet he
shows
stood
up
his
in the night,
ground.
Mr. Duke.
All right,
Wasn't
sir. I'll
Grant
see
that
to it.
kept him
And,
there.
Mr.
It was
Duke.
something stronger.
Yes, sir.
Some
If
mysterious
you're
bond
going
of
into the
friendship and
castle,
understanding.
please close that
He heard the
blinking
man's
door.
voice,
I
and
can't
he liked
stand
it.
to hear the door
Silver.
banging.
Silver.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be partners.
To use halter.
8
Now,
p.m.
Tonto, the
Swell
saddle.
increasing.
No horse
Ship
like
laboring
that.
heavily,
Take
drinking
saddle.
water
Never
all
was
day.
a horse like this.
Still a dead
Oh,
calm
Silver,
and very hot.
We're going to work
Batten down the
together.
coolers
The horse
for
was
the night.
wild and
The barometer
unused to the
is
ways
full
of
forward.
men and the weight of a saddle and a rider.
All
The
appearances
masked
indicate
man
a
was a
broken
kind teacher. He was
I
gentle
see.
yet firm, and Silver was intelligent. The stallion seemed to sense the desires of the Lone Ranger and did his best to cooperate. He learned quickly, and after several days of training, he was ready.
Follow me, Tonto. We're going after Cavendish.
Steady as she goes, that's all we can do. Right there.
No hoofs had ever beat the plains like those thundering hoofs of the great horse Silver.
Right out of its
During the past few days, Cavendish had gotten far away, but the masked man and Tonto trailed him relentlessly with only a minimum of rest.
What about
It
Hackett?
took
He's
days
on
to
the
cut
wheel.
down the outlaw's
Texas is putting
lead,
up shutters.
but at long last,
When the glass
Cavendish
is gone,
came
we
into
start
view.
breaking any tires.
Oh, fire, Mr. Duke.
The mighty stallion responded with a new burst of speed.
Haven't ordered a coach.
Now, sir, heading
Cavendish
straight at the
fired
wind.
wild shots over his shoulder until his gun was empty. His horse, though powerful and fast, was no match for the charging Silver. Fear and panic filled the outlaw's face. He heard the hoofbeats ever nearer, and then the masked man shout, "I want you, Cavendish!" The masked man's avowed mission was accomplished. The last of the Cavendish gang was captured to be tried by law and punished for his crimes. There were many others whose criminal plans were to be challenged by the Lone Ranger, his faithful Indian companion Tonto, and his great horse Silver.
You're bound to leave something behind. Now, steady. Hold hard. She's still rising, all right. That one broke over the wheelhouse.
We're done for sure.
What's that, Mr. Duke? You say something?
I said, is there any chance at all, sir? Can she live through it?
She may. We can hope to allow at least. She's a good ship. It's all a man can ask. What's that? Somebody yelling?
Below us on the foredeck, sir. Up here, starboard bridge.
Man shouldn't be on that deck if he has to. It's a bit dangerous.
Yes, sir?
Over here. What's the trouble, Bosun?
Them Chinese, sir.
Wait, hang on.
The Chinese. What about them?
They've all fetched away, sir. One big lump. It's horrible.
Yeah, now what do you mean, patched away?
Rolling around in the hold in one big lump. Screaming like bloomin' maniacs, sir. All adrift.
Mr. Duke?
Yes, sir.
I can't make head nor tail of this. I guess you'd better go below and see to it. Put things in order.
Well, what shall I do, sir?
I can't tell you up here. Find out what's wrong. Straighten it out. That's all.
That's all.
Take the bosun with you. I'm going to try for the wheelhouse.
All right, sir. Come on, folks. Right, sir. Just straighten it out, that's all.
Well, how's the wheel stand, Hackett?
As steady as she goes, sir.
You realize, of course, we've hit the typhoon.
Aye, sir.
Sorry I can't give you relief. Can you manage a while longer?
I'll hold her to the course, sir. As long as there's a ship beneath her.
Sure, that won't be long.
Oh, anything wrong, Sackett?
Wrong. We're all as good as dead men. That's what's wrong.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that. She's still afloat. And we've got it lucky here on deck. Plenty of chance to see what's coming before it hits us. A man always feels better when he can see what's coming. But it's a different story down below there. Not having knowledge of what's going on. Not knowing if we're afloat or sinking. Now, there's a lad that's got it tough. The one's down there in the engine room.
Time now for the steam to drop. Here, ride that throttle, Field. And let her rip her shaft out when she breaks clear of those swells. Hello, Bridge. Hello, Bridge. Confounded, why don't they answer the speaking tube? Can't tell if they're dead or alive up there. Hello. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Rout?
Captain, how is it on deck?
Bad enough. It depends mostly on you.
Well, so far so good. We're holding a full head of steam.
Good. We'll need it.
Don't let me drive her under, sir.
Have to take a chance. Can't see 20 feet up here. Got to keep moving it up the steer.
I understand, sir. Count on us.
They will smash about a good deal, but doing fairly well, as long as the wheelhouse stands. Wait, hold on.
Hello?
That's the captain, Mr. Rout. I've got to talk to him right away.
Wait a minute, Dukes. Something's happened up there. Hello, Bridge.
You still there, Mr. Rout?
Right. Anything wrong, sir?
No, not now. The second mate lost, though.
Overboard?
Oh, no. Lost his nerve. Awkward circumstance. Had to knock him out, too. Too bad.
You hear that, Dukes?
Yes, let me talk to him. Captain, Duke's here. The bosun and I just took a look at the tween deck. It's them bloomin' foxes, sir. They've all broke loose and smashed to bits. And the coolies are fighting like crazy men for them silver dollars that's rolling around.
Fighting? We can't have fighting on board, Mr. Duke.
There are 200 of them, sir. They're all trying to kill each other.
I can't have it, Mr. Duke. Put a stop to it at once, do you hear?
Put a stop to it? How? They're crazy mad. They'll kill anybody that came on that deck.
You're second in command, Mr. Duke. Use your authority. Make it clear to them. We simply can't have fighting.
Make it clear to them?
Oh, yes, sir. After that, you'd better gather up all the money. I can't have it lying about on the deck. Get the bosun to help you. Wait. Here it comes.
Gee, Arsapat. There's the one that does it. That must have swept the deck from stem to stern. Hello, Captain McGuire. You all right up there?
Everything's all right, Mr. Wright. All the boats and half the starboard rail carried away. Nothing serious. There's nothing to worry about, Mr. Wright. Carry on.
Nothing to worry about. Carry on. You're all right, Captain. As you say, sir. Carry on.
Carry on?
Hey, now. Where you going? Eh?
Where do you think I'm going, you loudmouthed old windbag? Out on that deck to get myself murdered.
Nothing serious, Jukes. Nothing to worry about.
The whole blooming world's falling apart, and I'm out picking up silver dollars. Captain's orders. Come on, bosun.
Don't miss any of them, Jukes. Carry on, boy. Carry on.
No help for it. Our gallant skipper says to stop the fighting. Use our authority. All right, then, quiet down. Come on, bosun.
Aye, sir.
Stow it there, you fools. Cut it out now, do you hear me? Authority, huh? They're clean out of their heads. We gotta drive them to the bulkhead. Back up, though. Hey, none of that. Stay to it, bosun. We gotta show them what for. Nothing else to do. Back up there. Captain's orders, you know. Follow me, bosun.
I was just thinking, sir.
Yeah, what about it? Back there. No fighting allowed. Skipper's orders.
Oh, you don't. What is me old lady? Could see me now.
She'd say, oh, you jolly sailor lad. Keep over there. Jam them up, bosun. Into the bulkhead. Captain. Where are you, Captain?
Over here, Mr. Duke. You got everything cleared up down below?
Oh, yes. We took care of everything, sir.
I thought you would. The wind fell all at once, stopped cold. It's been like this for 10 minutes now.
If you think it was an easy job to bring that mob under control.
Oh, the coolies? Oh, I dare say it wasn't. Had to do what's fair by them, though. Mr. Dukes, that barometer in there stands at the lowest point I've ever seen a glass in my life.
You mean there'll be more of it?
The worst yet, according to the book. It'll break sudden now. Any minute. A puff or two of wind, and then it hits.
She's taken a horrible beating, sir.
She has indeed. And she's in for a worse one.
We haven't much chance, have we, sir?
She may come through it. She's a good ship.
There's the first puff.
It'll hit us hard when it comes. You left them pretty safe, did you?
The coolies? We strung lifelines, gives them something to hold on to.
Good. I'd like to give them all the chance we can, whatever happens.
Oh, they'll be all right, sir. I broke out rifles for 8 of the crew, put them to guarding all the companionways leading off the team deck.
You armed the crew, Mr. Duke?
Oh, sure. We won't have any trouble with them now, sir.
Mr. Duke, please have those rifles returned to the magazines at once.
What?
There'll be work for every man aboard in a few minutes. I can't spare seamen to stand around and hold rifles when it isn't necessary.
Isn't necessary? Don't you realize those savages will think we stole their money? But they'll tear us to bits if they ever get out of that deck.
Oh, I think they'll understand we're dealing fair by them. Collect the rifles, Mr. Duke.
Captain, it's suicide. The best thing we can do is turn the whole mess over to the authorities in Foochow. If we ever get there.
Well, I don't know. I figure that when anything happens on shipboard, it's up to me to settle it on shipboard. Part of the duties of commanding a vessel, Mr. Duke. I've no doubt I'll be able to reach an understanding with these men later.
Understanding? You ought to have seen him a while ago when me and the bosun was down there.
Lost their heads a bit, I guess. No wonder at that when... Here she comes. Pick up those rifles, Mr. Duke, and something else.
Yes, Captain.
If anything happens to me, you'll be in charge. Only advice, keep her facing it. Best way to get through, facing it. That's enough for any man.
All right, Captain, I'll remember.
And one thing more, Mr. Duke.
Yes, sir.
Something that always helps at sea is to keep a cool head. Just keep a cool head.
Oh, no, keep a cool head. Stitch and pine stays nigh the rolling stone. What in the name of heaven do you do with a man like that? There was a clear blue sky and bright sunshine the morning we steamed into Foochow Harbor. Mr. Rout was leaning on a hatch combing, smoking a pipe. The bosun lounged on the foredeck, waiting to pick up a line from the wharf. And the captain? Well, he was engaged in a most unusual occupation.
Keep moving.
He was sitting at a table on the foredeck, handing out silver dollars to them blinking coolies. All divided up even, the same amount to each one. Craziest thing you ever heard of in your life. You see, the way the captain figured it, since those blighters had all worked for 2 years at the same rate of pay, then their savings ought to all be about equal. As you can see, of course, that wasn't necessarily true by any means, wasn't even legal. But you couldn't tell him anything.
Well, that's that. Mr. Duke.
Yes, sir. Coming, Captain.
Well, Mr. Duke, I've disposed of our little collection of silver dollars.
That's great. Only wait till those boys get ashore and file claims against us.
Oh, no, they won't do that. As a matter of fact, they were quite pleased at having it arranged that way. Figured it might avoid a lot of arguments later. They sent a spokesman to thank me.
Well, I'll be...
Mr. Dukes, you may as well give all the hands 6 hours leave before we start working the cargo.
Whatever you say, Captain.
Oh, yes, and before the carpenter leaves, I wish you'd have him fix the lock on that port cabin door.
What?
That seems to have got broken somehow. During the storm, I suppose. I can't stand to hear the door bang, Mr. Dukes.
Aye, sir. I don't suppose it matters if the ship is battered from stem to stern, have her topside carried away, and smashed till she looks like a bloomin' Tinson freighter.
Mr. Dukes, I don't understand you.
You don't understand me, sir. Do you understand that we've come through the worst typhoon on the China Seas in 20 years? We're the only ship that got through?
It's true. I suppose we were a bit lucky.
Lucky, sir? With 200 murdering cutthroats running loose aboard in the very heavens doing their worst?
We had a job to do, and we did it. That's all, Mr. Dukes. That's the important thing.
Yes, sir. That's all. That's all, he says. A job to do. A bit lucky. What can you do with a man as thick as that? But then, as I started to turn away, Captain McQuarrie said something else that surprised me. With emotion wrung from the very bottom of his soul, he uttered words I never thought I'd hear coming from so stupid a man.
But I'm glad we brought her through, Mr. Duke. Truly I am. She's a good ship, Mr. Duke. A good ship. I should have hated to lose her. I should have hated to lose her.
Typhoon by
by Joseph Conrad, was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield and produced and directed by William N. Robeson, with Frank Lovejoy as Jukes, Raymond Lawrence as Captain McQuirr, and Cy Kendall as Ralph the engineer. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Feuer. Escape is presented by the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape to Paris of 500 years ago in Robert Louis Stevenson's story of a fascinating adventure, The Sire de Malvoisie d'Or. And so good night until next week at this time, when again it will be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.